There's a bit of a difference between old and obsolete. This falls in the obsolete category.
Hey, you guys are watching Bird Up, the worst show on television.
This is the Acer Aspire R1600, and it is the worst computer that I own. It's kind of a lot, honestly, because this is probably one of the most infuriating computers I've had the mispleasure of working with. I won't go too much into the specifications for right now, but all you need to know is that it has a single-core Intel Atom chip and 2 gigs of RAM. That's it. I installed an SSD to it's not because to make it run faster, it's because the original hard drive in this thing died. But hey, look, speaking of features, look at that, it's got NVIDIA graphics. That's how you get all of your RTX graphics and shit. So if we take a closer look at this little Windows XP Home Edition thing right here, you'll notice that it says Nettops right here. Now the thing about these computers is that this was during the wave of netbooks, late 2000s. It was this trend where they would go out of their way to make super cheap laptops and desktops and all that. And for a time it actually kind of worked, because having cheaper computers for people to work around with was actually pretty appealing, because this was during a time where PCs were still kind of expensive. It didn't pan out too well in the end, though, after Steve Jobs had introduced the iPad and some other weird shit that went on. Here, I'm not gonna plan on cracking this open today, because I don't feel like it. Installing an SSD was a pain in the ass. So what you have to do is, there's a screw here. You have to unscrew that to get over to the case, but the thing is that it only goes to one side. So once you screw this side, you have to get every tab off just to get this side. And you think, oh, that's where the SSD is, right? No, you have to take the motherboard out of the system, because the only way to get to the hard drive is on the other side of the computer, and you can't access it because it only unscrewing this screw right here only takes this side off. It's so, it freaking infuriates me. But anyways, yeah, that's the Acer Aspire, or a quick little rundown from it. Alright, well, it's been nothing but a day of me fussing around with this thing, so I didn't really end up getting anything done. Oh, I lied. Oh, it's worse, actually. Oh. So we're gonna try again. So I'm just gonna boot in this thing momentarily. I'm gonna have something a little fun going on in the background, because using this thing is actually hell. I literally can't stand using it. It's terrible. I really don't want to go back. Debian 12. Alright. Yeah. Alright, you know the drill. I'm just gonna install Debian. I'm not gonna go into a very detailed install with it. I'm just gonna skim through the process, and, just get it over with. I've already had enough trouble with trying to install other distros on this fucking thing. Alright, I think while this is loading, I think now would be a good time to address the elephant in the room. And that is single-core Intel Atom chips. They are the absolute bane of my existence. They come from hell. What makes them bad? I mean, well, having a single-core CPU is pretty bad, but they have hyper-threading, so that should make them at least somewhat usable, right? So the way that a CPU works normally is that there's the CPU, or the core, as most people call it now, and then you have the threads within the core, which are basically virtual processors. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically they serve as the hands of said CPU, or the individual threads. So when hyperthreading is thrown in, you basically, instead of having one hand to do stuff, you now have 2 hands to do stuff. So, you can tackle 2 tasks at a time, or something like that. I don't know too much about this. I think this is as close as you can get to understanding how these CPUs actually work. it doesn't matter anyways because hyper-threading will not help this thing. It's like, to really put it into perspective, the ThinkPad, or the one ThinkPad that I reviewed about, I think it was like 2 months ago at this point, it only has a single thread. However, the thing with the ThinkPad is that it at least has the benefit of having more than 1 gig of RAM to work with, and it also is just an overall more powerful CPU anyway. It's basically the mobile equivalent of a Pentium 4, where it's like it runs hot and it's slow, but it's faster than this fucking thing. Like, it's actually night and day using that and this. It's not great, but, like, you know, that's something that I actually use for college work. Like, this thing, I can never hope to, like, bring this to college, ever. Here, if I can at least... What have I done? What have I done? Uh-oh. No, you gotta be kidding. Oh my God, this video is a fucking mess, dog. I can't take it anymore. We're back, and we're basically just about ready to install. We just need to figure out what desktop environment we need to pick, and obviously because this is an Intel Atom we're dealing with, we're not gonna be using XOCE. Oh my God, it's finally done. We can finally move on at last. Just gonna hit continue. Whoa, we did it! Alright, we're in. Here we go. This should make things a little faster, but. So here's our CPU, and here's our 2 threads, like I brought up earlier. This is running at. I mean, at least it's currently running at 1.6 gigahertz. So, here, let's see what happens if I shake it up a bit. Oh my God, yeah, it almost maxed out right there. So we have a total of 833 megs. That is not a whole lot to work with for Firefox. This is not looking great. Yeah. Reminder, this is only one tab of Firefox. And I mean, it's just now loading in, but you know, this is just one tab, and from what I understand, this was considered acceptable specs back in whatever, I think it was like 2010 that this thing was produced, and this was considered acceptable back then. I don't know. Here, let's try something basic. And I kind of did this with like the last computer, like with the ThinkPad. But we're gonna go ahead and go straight into Reddit. See if we can get anything interesting. Alright, here we go. Reddit, dive into anything. Wow, this is certainly a lot faster than I thought it would be. All things considered. Yeah, and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do for this bit. I might just leave it in, just to like give an idea of what the raw experience is. But yeah, this is what it's like. The input latency is terrible. It is some of the worst I've ever been a part of. Like, I really don't have any other explanation as to just how horrendous this is for one tab of Firefox. Just Reddit, and the absolute latency and just loading. Like, look at this. Look at this. This is. Web compatibility interventions. My mouse is frozen. My mouse is frozen. I can't do anything. The system has been seized. The engine is seizing up. We can't do anything. Functionally speaking, this system is now a paperweight. All because of one program. I don't know, I might have to do another video with this thing where I install 2 gigs of RAM. You know, possibly give it a better chance or whatever, but like, as it stands right now, this is like the worst system that I have. Well, there you have it. That is the most underwhelming conclusion for a video that I think I've ever made so far. It is miserable using this thing. Like, I actually can't use it. Like, I literally can't. It literally froze midway as I was just running one tab of Firefox. And honestly, I think it's just down to the fact that, like, if like having an Intel Atom in this thing is bad enough, but like 1 gigabyte of RAM, not even that, it's like 833 or something. I thought it was 933, but it was like 833, I don't know. If it wasn't bad enough for the fact that this thing has a single core processor, having 1 gig of RAM basically kills off any possibility for this thing to be used in 2024. Not that it was ever going to have a chance anyways, but like it literally froze. Like, the entire machine froze just from trying to run one tab of Firefox. That to me is a new low. What have we learned today? Don't go out and buy outdated shit that you know that's gonna work, I guess. So, yeah, there you go. That's the fucking Acer Spire shit. You know, you can leave now. Goodbye.